Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Superfed TV Presents REBBL Action, covering the REL Divisions 1 through 3. I'm your host, Superfed TV. Joining me today is, as usual, my co-host, Bumblebee. Bumblebee, how you doing?
I'm all right.
And our special guest today is Tself. Tself, welcome to the channel, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this one.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we will go ahead and get things started in your division, Division 3, after this quick intro. Do always enjoy the final scene of the orc just smashing one of your elves in.
Oh, that was a brutal game.
His team is terrified, and that's as another orc coach. Like, he's tearing up the division.
Is that Regnan's orcs?
Although, we'll get to that. So, this week, we had Your Lizard Airy taking on Cenobite the Curb, and the game was really, really rough for Chaos. Your Lizard Airy, Zarki, or Sukari, Sukari completely dismantled this Chaos team. And I'm talking 6 casualties, 4 KOs. I think there was 5 Chaos pieces left on the pitch at the end of the game. And that's not to say that Cenobite the Curb just got outblocked. They actually had the exact same number of blocks with 59 apiece. But piling on Saurus did a lot of work. And Cenobite the Curb, on the other hand, Claw didn't do a thing against lizards, and that is never a good thing. The only pieces that got removed were skinks, and really Chaos doesn't really want to play the chase the skink game. That doesn't work out well. So the 2-0 win for the lizards here. And that does, these two teams are actually near each other on the leaderboard, and I think that does shift things quite a bit, having that decided so evenly. Another leaderboard affecting thing was the game between Murderers Row and Lebowski Urban Achievers. Murderers Row started out on a tear and were originally the top Necro team in the division. This one didn't go so well in a 0-0 draw. Did you catch this one, Tself?
No, actually, I missed this one.
Okay. So this one was a bit of, kind of a back and forth game. No one could really get too far into the other team's pitch. There was a lot of lateral movement back and forth, and there were more injuries for Murderers Row. The Necro were able to remove some Chaos, but it was near the end of the game that the Kaz is kind of stuck. The KOs, on the other hand, were all in favor of Chaos, and so those kind of came back, and it still wasn't enough. Neither team able to execute on their end of drive moves and dice rolls in order to score. So an interesting kind of stalemate. If you're into those defensive kinds of matches, I would still catch that one.
It
It's
looks
still
like
available.
neither coach had the ball very much in their opponent's half.
Yeah. They were all conservative and screened off well. So. Up next was Scooby and the Gang in the TeamSpeak Crew version 4, Puck Stop, and Travel Scrabble. Coaching that one. Getting the draw there as well, but this one at least with 1 touchdown apiece. There was a death on the Chaos Dwarf side. I believe it was a blocker as well.
I think it was a Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin, okay. Even number of armor blocks, even number of armor breaks and blocks. So you don't see that every day, but the actual removal game was favoring Necro with 4 Kaz and a kill. More stuns for the Chaos Dwarves. And unfortunately, without getting those removals, Puck Stop was slowed down quite a bit. Another one that's going to shake up the leaderboard. Moving on to Tooth and Fist. Got the 1-1 draw against Necromantic Newbies in this Necromere. 49 blocks to 47. Another really close match. It's interesting.
Very few removals. Crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting to see at this point in the season how close these games really are. It's starting to stack up the draws a bit as well. Earlier on, things were so lopsided, and now everybody's kind of gotten used to the speed of the division. And Necros playing Necros is gonna... Well, it's not uncommon for those to end in draws as well, so... Revenge of the Franks. This is the Orc team that everyone was, fearing and talking about. And they got upset by Felwith Code at all. The High Elves were able to really shut down the drive. Now they still scored, so they really got stalled out. They didn't get the removals that they needed in the first half, and then the second half when the removals started kicking in, unfortunately the High Elves were able to turn them over and get the quick score. So
yeah, I watched this game. It was actually a very interesting game. The Orcs, they just moved it pretty slowly up the field in their half and scored on turn 8, but the Elves were able to one turn on them, which really turned the game.
Yeah, and with a rookie catcher as well. So there was no dodge reroll involved. It was just, a movement 8, which only takes 3 pushes, so it's not super hard, but with the 2 GFIs and the 4+3+, I believe it is. 4+3+2+, something like that, or 3+3+2+, depending on the number of tackle zones that he's going through. That was a good one turn, definitely. Moving on to that's a bye week. So Hipster got the bye this week against Midsummer Nightmares. Hopefully able to. Oh, he was actually not the cash starved one, so he's actually got a ton of cash. He didn't really need it.
He's got a ton of cash, and he leveled one of his line elves.
Yeah. And then the final game, the Pro Elf battle, which you are here to discuss, between yourself and Soul of Dragonfire. You got the 4-2 win over Soul. Tell us how that one went.
So we started it off, and it was it's sort of like an elf score-off at the beginning. We both decided that 2 turns were the way to go, and we threw all our players into each other's halves. Then, each person would try to block down a scoring threat, but there's too many scoring threats to stop, and Pro Elves being Pro Elves, they just catch the ball in a 2-up, throw the ball over anyone, and easy scores both ways. So that happened a couple times, and then we traded basically 2 turns for the first half, ended up 2-2 in the first half, and he was able to stall out for a few turns, then I was able to stall out for a few turns, and the second half's actually where it got turned around. So I opted for a quick score again, keep the same strategy going. Neither of us could get any removals to stick. It was crazy, KO everywhere. Everything was a KO, and they kept coming back. And then in his second half, I'm up 3-2 after I quick score, and he's trying to do the same thing on me, but he rolls a double 1 on the pass from midfield. And then Agi5 does Agi5 things, steals the ball, throws it back. We scrum around for a bit, and eventually get the steal score to go up 4-2.
Oh, no. Yeah, it seemed like... Because I watched his stream, he streamed
an amazing amount of double 1s in that game.
It seemed like he could tell when it was slipping, and he could, even before the double 1s, he knew that he needed to get some removals against your more banged up pieces. Your strip ball piece, I believe, is the one that has Niggle, and you got the AV7 Blitzer. And every time he would blitz one of those pieces and wouldn't get the removal, a permanent, he wouldn't get the Kaz. He just
he set up for a bunch of super gang fouls on them because we got a bribe at one of the kickoff events, and every time he tried to set up for a foul, it would just roll a KO on the block.
Yeah, and then they'd come right back. Yeah. Did you have 2 babes for that one? Because you had
no, they were all 4-ups.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's really just
it was
sinking feeling when you're playing you realize that in order to get the win, you need to have one or two pieces get removed, and when they're AV7 and nickeled, and you can't get rid of them, it is so frustrating. Because I've been in that place before. Gosh. Yeah.
Like, especially with the players we both have.
Right.
Neither of us could stop a score.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the way your teams are kind of built too. I mean, you've got a phenomenal thrower, so unless he puts pressure on him, you can stall if you want, but you can also, doesn't matter how much pressure he puts on him, also you can just run him up the pitch and throw well, mostly up the pitch. He has the movement busted, but run him up a little bit and then, make a 3+ long bomb. Yeah. That's a good piece to have. And there's a couple places like that in your division, so I'm sure you guys are getting used to the way each other play a little bit. So let's take a look at the leaderboard and see where everything's at. There are 3 playoff spots that are going to be in Division 3. And for those of you that don't know, Heronsword made the official posting today of what the playoff bracket looks like. Division 3, not so lucky, in my opinion, when you're looking at the teams that you're going to be playing between round 1 and round 2 of the playoffs. But it doesn't matter. Anything can happen. And if you find yourself facing Sage week 1, just remember, if Stouticus could do it with 1 season Wood Elves, you can certainly do it with 2nd season Pro Elves. And Soul actually played Sage last season in the playoffs too, and almost got the win. I think the scatter dice screwed Soul quite a bit. So. Where we're at in the leaderboard, number 1, Tribu Urbana at 6-0-1. After that loss to the High Elves, Rengen is now at 5-0-2. And I'd say his spot is a little bit more up for grabs because of that. Chaos Dwarves are taking 3rd place at 4-2-1. By no means is that sealed. Behind him right away is your Lizard Area at 4-1-2. And Pro in the Party, Soul's at 4-0-3. Murderers Row 3-2-2, Lebowski Urban Retrievers 3-2-2. Those draws that they get, actually they both drew each other, putting each other at 3-2-2. Also opens it up a bit for, I would say, Pantheon Passers and Fell with Codadal are probably at the very end of what's going to be achieving a playoff spot. Actually, Tooth and Fist are not, I mean, they're just 1 point behind you guys, so. Yeah,
I mean, it seems like first place, at least, is going to be either Hipster or Regnan.
Mm-hmm.
And they pretty much have their spots locked if they can continue to stay at least solid. But that 3rd place looks very wide open with the way the teams are all bunched up.
The way I see it shaking up to where it's not just Hipster and Regnan and the top 2 is that Regnan has played all the squishy teams. And he's lost 2 of them, admittedly, but the second half, or the back 9, if you will, of his season is a lot more bashy than the first, and a lot of claw. And if you don't adjust the way you play your orcs to the claw, you could be in for a bad time. I would not say he's had a real Kaz dicing yet to really test him, and if he loses one of the 2 of those really good blitzers, and the blitzers are what's carrying his team, or his God Black Orc. Any of those things could really shake him for more than 1 match, and that would be the kind of thing that would knock him out. Because really, all it's going to take, I think, is 3 losses to get knocked out. I think 5 losses for the season is too many when you're talking about top 3 spots. So if he gets 2 losses and wins the rest, he's fine. If he gets 2 losses and a bunch of draws, that's not good. And if he gets 3 losses, I think he could potentially lose a spot. Yeah, I don't see Hipster taking 4 losses in the back of the season, so I think he's pretty secure there. Puckstop is the wild card for sure. I think he had an early spot, and then he's been drawing and slowing down quite a bit. And I'm not sure what he's been facing exactly.
With only 1 loss, he's still
right. He's very viable.
Doing quite well.
Yeah. Let's see. There was a draw against Necro. Actually, I could see Necro being a hard team for Chaos Dwarves, so that doesn't surprise me too much. Got the bye there. He got really stomped by Pro in a Party. And he beat the Chaos team. That doesn't surprise me. And
Another
he
Necro
beat the
tie.
Lizards. Yeah, so... And then he drew against Necro. So yeah, Necro are the ones that are going to be able to shut him out. And he's still got some Necro games left. And if, he loses another Pro Elf game, that could put him in a really bad spot. And then Sukari, it's hard to get a read on him. He also had a really good start and kind of slowed down a little bit. And the draw is going to hurt him a little. He snuck away with a win with the 5+ dodge, 5+ pickup on a Saurus. I don't know if he can continue with that, but he could be probably the most likely, I think, to steal a spot from one of the top 3, or even take second. And
it looks like he's also had a very agility-heavy early season.
Right, and facing the Claw, especially Necro. Rumblebee loves to talk about how good Necro is against Lizards.
It looks like he actually mostly has all Necro matches left.
Yeah, so that could be a little rough to get through, which really does leave the window open for all those lower teams, all the way down through Tooth and Fist. But I think if you're at 3 losses, you're probably, needing to win out hard in order to get there.
It was so many people to jump as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're winning through, and especially with the amount of ties that we're starting to see crop up, because there were so few ties to start. If people start tying that are above you, that's how you really jump ahead quite a bit, because that 1 point for a tie, sure, it's not a loss, but it both lowers you and your opponent's standing. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of the teams. First, let's start with the Pantheon Passers, since you are our guest. All 6 of them.
All 6 of them.
They're bright and shiny orange. You're doing a good job of showing off, a armor bust and a niggle is not the end of an elf's career. It is merely the beginning of it. So the Agi 5 strip ball piece. Tell me about the strip ball before wrestle or block.
Okay, so at the time when he leveled, I had an Agi 5 dodge wrestle tackle piece catcher.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I mean, I could try to build this guy the same as him, or I could add a strip ball and maybe have a little better chance to knock the ball loose.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, well, he's niggled anyway. I'm probably going to be cycling him at some point. Don't know how long I'm keeping him. I'll just give him strip ball and maybe I can steal a win with that in the next couple games. And then in the next game, the other guy died.
Yeah.
As AV7 does.
I mean, he's close to leveling, so I mean, to be fair, it hasn't cost you yet.
Yeah.
But
the niggle's taken him out a few times, but
any block tackle Mighty Blow Blitzer has got to see that guy and just be like, swiggity swooty.
Yeah, I try to screen him off. That's usually how he stays alive, but it's tough.
Well, you also have a legion of loners to help accomplish that task, so that can make it a little safer. You're up to 3 catchers, and they're also getting development well. When you're playing, is there ever are you getting that sensation of, hey, I need to score on this guy to get this guy the level, or is it, this is the most likely one to score, so this is what I'm going to go with?
It usually comes down to who's the most likely to score when I play. Against Hipster, I think all 4 of my receivers pro in a party, Soul Dragonfire this week, all 4 of my receivers were a touchdown away from leveling, and 3 of them actually leveled in the game. So
I see that. I mean, 16, 31, and
51
on the Blitzer.
Yeah, they all leveled this game, and
that's a good result.
All rolled normals, as my team does.
You don't need a whole lot of doubles. I mean, guard is awesome. You're gonna play that high elf soon, and he will show you what all the doubles in the world can do.
Yeah.
But you look at that Blitzer. That Blitzer is perfectly fine with no doubles, and I would say the catchers are also doing their job quite well. you're going to be really heavy on wrestle.
Yes, I like wrestle. Wrestle's my favorite skill.
So you meet Juggernaut.
That
You haven't met that yet, so I think you're fine because you're past. I think anyone that's going to be taking it this season. But if you start playing some juggers, you're not going to like that so much. And then you've got the awesome passer who is making records, currently leading the league in a lot of the fun statistics. Gives Lideus a little, Tootsie Roll in his pants. He's very excited about that. Strong arm, accurate, and you made the comment I saw on the forums that your movement 5 is what really gives him the edge because all the other throwers are a little faster, so they make the pass just a little bit shorter. I like
yes,
that.
he throws from max range quite often.
And that's, of course, what's kind of pushing you towards safe throw. I assume Sure Hands is next. Or are you thinking dodge?
Well, hopefully agility 5, then he throws 2+ long bombs. But yeah, dodge probably, keep him a little safer.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
This team has a little bit of history. It's actually the same exact team that I made in another league a couple years back, except that was a high elf team. Same names, same everything, same strategy, and that team had a Sif Muna in it, who was strong arm agility 5 thrower.
Wow.
And that thrower was a legend. He got like 83 completed passes for 1,200 yards or something.
Jeez.
So I do have this history of throwers that do this.
Yeah, I think I do like high elves a lot more than pro elves, but they've both got their niches. Yeah, I just like Sure Hands because it seems more often than not I waste my reroll picking up the ball in an urgent situation, and I use Sure Hands a ton to recover loose balls. Because usually my thrower when I'm on defense is the guy that's not, marked. I want him to keep him safe. And then when I get the ball knocked loose, he's one of the few people that hasn't moved yet in the turn. And so, of course, he's got Sure Hands, which makes it easy. You run in, you pick it up, and then you throw it out to safety.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand taking dodge, too, and just making him a little less of a bullseye.
The hardest part about retrieving balls with him is as you said, he's movement busted, so
right.
It takes it a little harder to get there.
And you have an Agi 5-piece, so that's, decent recovery option as well. Especially, the only hard part is when he picks it up. If he's the one that blitzed to strip it, and then he goes and picks it up, can't throw it. So,
yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, let's move on to a second Pro Elf team that you can kind of pick apart since you literally picked them apart just a couple days ago. Taking a look at Pro in a Party, coached by Solo Dragonfire. This is one that's got some stats and doubles and a few less injuries. We've got a nice theme to the team. All the drinking games. A couple blitzers, King's Cup, and Never Have I Ever. Both of them with Guard and Blodge. And these are both original factory-issued pieces. I know this because I really didn't like the decision to go Guard on both of them, especially the one that got Guard on his first level up. I would really have preferred him to go with Mighty Blow. And the reason for that is if you get a second double later, you can actually have a piling on piece. But also, you want to have some kind of a removal threat. It makes you a lot like Skaven, where you can slow the attrition that you suffer by enforcing attrition on the other team and making them respond accordingly. Having the extra guard there on the sidestep is cool, but I just don't think it is as effective as one Mighty Blow and one guard. Your thoughts on that?
I think ideally you want Mighty Blow on the catchers, but as you say, doubles, they roll where they roll, so yeah, probably taking one Mighty Blow would have been nice at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's on a blitzer, you take it on a blitzer. If it's on a catcher, it's more ideal, but you take them where you get them.
Yeah. I just like the development path of also having block to start. So when you get Mighty Blow on your first level up, you get tackle after that, and then you can worry about other things. And when it's that first level up, you just have so many more options. If you do get a second double up, like then you could look at Juggernaut, or you could look at making it a piling on piece if you are okay with piling on. I know some people don't like it, but
probably not on elves.
Yeah. There's a strong case for it. Because you can still protect them, and what team is better at screening than elves? If you're screening for somebody that gets out too far, like, when you watch Renjin play, or Regnan, he will get one blitzer off on their own a lot. And when somebody has an isolated piece like that, you can blitz them with Mighty Blow, pile on, and foul on top of that. To get rid of them, and that makes them play on their back foot. He's also got a accurate strong arm thrower, because why not? That just really makes an elf offense so much more effective. He's got a kicker that's alive and well and kicking, and a couple throwers,
those catchers are amazing. Yeah. The agility 5 probably going to pick up wrestle as well.
Yeah.
Such a good ball retriever or ball sacker, and then the movement 9. Even though it's got that minus AV, which is very scary, it's almost like a stunty piece at this point.
It's better than a nickel, in my opinion.
Yeah, he is not natural, but a very difficult to stop one turning threat.
Yeah, one push or no, 2 pushes because he doesn't have sprint yet. And I don't know. He may not even take sprint for his next level. I've debated that with several people before, that elves, when you get the movement up, you shouldn't necessarily build them for the one turning, because there's so many other things that they can do or get more value out of. And since he's already wrestle tackle, there's a case for that.
Case for strip ball almost.
Yeah. This division, more than any of the other ones I cover, is gonna favor strip ball, because the amount of elves that are here and necro, and there's just not as much sure hands as there should be. So I would not hate a strip ball on this team at all. Let's see. Anything else I can think of to talk about this? Because they're both Frodo teams, I mean, it's kind of similar thing to talk about. He's in a good shape with cash flow. He doesn't need to pick up those last loners. In fact, it's actually nice to have 3 loners when you're playing Pro Elves, because you're going to have 3 people on the line, and you don't really care what happens to them when they're a loner. So makes you, play a little easier, less stress. I don't hate him for not picking those up. Would you ever pick up, or I guess, when do you pick up the 4th rower? You feel like he's probably waiting for Avalanche to level?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I actually have been picking up a lot of catchers almost very quickly, more quickly than most people would do, but that's because I had very few players, and the 8 movement is very helpful when you're trying to win games down players.
Yeah.
But I think he's trying to wait until all of them have that double protection skill.
Right.
Which I see a lot of players go for.
Yeah. Not a unwise move when you're dealing with a bunch of AV7.
And I believe he actually talked about it on his stream before our game, that he was going to pick it up in the next game.
Yeah. Either dodge or block next for. Or
he had a target to throw to already, I think, is what he said.
Yeah.
The other catcher that just leveled being 3 SPP away,
and the other one's only 5 away. So yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, that's going to do it for Division 3. I think we're still 5 weeks out of games left to play. I think next week we can really start, hopefully, narrowing down the playoffs. I think I said we've got 10 potential spots. I would like to see that cut down to 7. And, if it's anything like Division 2 is last season, it'll remain at like 11 for up until the final week. So I hope it's not that close, but we'll see. Awesome. We'll hold on tight, and we will get Division 2's intro. All right, welcome back. And in Division 2, there was a few shakeups and a few, I would say, games that went as predicted. First up, we had the Oil Miners taking on Please Don't Murder Me, and Luke Sama still not able to turn the corner this season. He got the 1-1 draw against these Dwarves, and Dwarves are always a tough match for High Elves. Look at the number of blocks, though. This is probably one of the fewest block games I've seen all season. 28 for the Dwarves, 15 for the High Elves. Just minimizing the damage as much as possible for the Elves. But even with only 28 blocks, there were 11 removals. So, yes, for the Dwarves' sake, it's hard to get removals and blocks if no one left on the pitch. And the fact that it's only a 1-1 draw for those Dwarves, despite getting so many removals, is a little bit rough. But well played by Luke Sama to keep that tie.
The interesting part is where the removals went, and it's not going to be happy for the High Elves in their next game, because they have missed next games / permanents on 3 of their really important players.
Oof, that is never good news. That does bring his TV down quite a bit, though. He's got one of the below-tier teams. Straight Up Flatulence lost 2-3 against Men in Tights, and that's a high-scoring match for Chaos. But the Elves were able to do elf things. Again, a high number of removals on 34 blocks, 6 KOs and 3 injuries. But Men in Tights able to exploit some of the gaps in the Chaos offense, as well as, just turn over quite well. I think they also had a blitz, which, that never feels good against Wood Elves getting blitzed. The Lords of Decay lost 2-4 against Trikundo, and we're definitely seeing a weakness here for Kalisti Maya against these Wood Elves. They seem to have his number. And Zork is a great Wood Elf coach. Starting to see some development on this team. He's been, constantly rebuilding since his one trip to Division 1. Seeing his catcher with the movement up there, it's a nice one-turner threat there. But it's hard to rebuild, man, especially in Divisions 2 and 3, where there is a lot of good bash teams. We have Communist Frat Party losing 1-2 against the Booze Crews. Humans were able to get some smacks in, but didn't quite stick as well as the Dwarf team. And Motley is just on a tear. Undefeated and atop the division. We'll get a chance to look at him in a little bit. Giving Motley 65 blocks. This is the coach that made the waves when he got 85 blocks in a single game against
it was only 84.
Or 84, you're right. 84. It's been so long since I did the meme. I forgot the number. I need to spam him in Discord next time he says something with 84. Remember, never forget. And Iron Man got the 2-1 win over Leafy Mustard. Leafy Mustard not able to. I think their skink game is just not on point as it has been in previous seasons. Getting 10 removals against them. Gengar doing his Gengar things. 38 blocks. Only 19 for the Saurus. I know that Lizardmen hate Khemri because, they rely upon their force strength to bully people around the pitch. And it turns out when you show up with 4 Tomb Guardians, 2 of which are strength 6, and a strength 4 Blitz Raw, the Saurus don't really get to bully you. 19 blocks is a big sign of that. The Ace Trucking Company lost 2-3 against not FDA approved. This was a big win for ATL.
But look at his team. At what cost?
The cost is, something to pay. I think it was a MNG, right, on Super Dragon.
Well, he's got 4 MNG permanent injuries.
Yeah, that's not very warm and fuzzy. But he got the win against a team that was on top, Quicks. Quicks getting 28 armor breaks on 47 blocks. He came to punch. Got to punch. And not an anime sports team took the 1-0 win over Cheese Tactics. Mr. 84 himself. Almost getting outblocked by Arch. Kind of dug his heels in there and traded blows. But Cheese was unable to get any removals, really. 3 KOs, no casualties. That's not enough. Really put the pain into the High Elves. Let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard, see where we're at. There was one game played so far, which was Arch, XL, and Motley, and that was a draw. So excluding that 4th draw from both those 2 teams, they're going to be basically in the same position. Booze Cruise, top of the ladder at 4-0. No one's been able to really beat the Dwarves, and it's either a sign of conservative play or
no players left.
no players left, exactly. That can certainly happen. No teams. Iron Madden as well, similarly, playing that get rid of all your players so you can't outscore me strategy at 4-2-1. Arch XL 3-4-1, and Slightly Bent at 4-0-3. I think any of these 4 teams can make the playoffs. I think more likely than not, Motley will be there. Gengar was in a similar position last season, although he was not as high up in the ladder, but he potentially could choke as he's getting to play more of the agility teams for the rest of the season. So that would be my one to watch. Arch XL is always on the cusp. Been to the playoffs twice. He missed it by 1 point last season. I would not be surprised if he is either 4th or 3rd place this season. He just likes to ride the edge a little bit with these elves. Slightly Bent. He started out so strong and kind of stumbled a little bit. But I think he's capable of beating anyone in this league on any given Sunday. But we don't know yet how that'll shake out at the end. I think if Gengar drops, I think Slightly Bent is the best one to take his spot. Zwark kind of sneaking in there of late. He's been very quiet, and I think that he also is capable of kind of sneaking that 3rd spot away. Ace Trucking Company, he was up there, and like I said, he's kind of fallen a little bit, but he is tied with Zwark. ATL, Stubings, Kalisti, Maya, all 3 of which are not knocked out, but I think they need to really crank it in overdrive. If they get a 4th loss, they're going to be kind of similar to Division 3 in a really rough spot if they really want to make the playoffs. Relegation Train, Gerzoot, Cheese, Nocturnal possibly, and Luke Sama. None of those teams really had things clicking at this point in the season. I think they all kind of got slow starts and were kind of surprised by the pace of how this division was going to go. You know, you see all the extremes doing really well here. You've got the extreme bash and removal of Gengar and Motley, and you've got even Quicks to some extent in that same category. And then you've got Arch, Slightly Bent, and Zwark, who are on the other side of the extreme, able to out-elf the rats and able to kind of play keep away from some of the bash teams. So the guys in the middle, you know, the lizards, the humans, you know, Cheese, whatever you want to call him, not doing as hot. So that is where we are at.
He's planning on rumbling into the playoffs.
Going down
get
to division. Yeah,
get relegated from Div 2.
I think that was the strategy for dropping down from Div 1. So he's double Rumblebeing. He's the sub.
The double rumble.
The double rumble, yeah. This week we're gonna take.
Jesus always wanted to be me, so.
Jeez. What a treat. Speaking of treats, let's take a look at Treat Kundo. They are coached by Zwark. They are a former Div 1 team and former playoff team. They are also former rookie team. So Zwark, been with this team a while. They have seen the depths of Death Spiral and have come back from it. It's actually quite funny. One of the things about this team is their war dancers are usually the least developed pieces on the team. But he's got a strip ball 1, he's got a tackle 1. His tree is phenomenal with guard, movement up, and grab. So even if you knock it over, it just gets right back up. No dice rolls needed. You've got 3 catchers of various states, one of which is got a movement up and looking to be a good one-turner. Gets to level that one up at any point. I'm assuming probably sure feet, but maybe block, keep it a little stronger, or even sidestep as a way to improve that one-turn chance with grab tree. The thing with one-turning with Wood Elves is not really usually the number of pushes so much as it is being able to do it with fewer players. And so having a grab tree and sidestep makes it much, much, much easier for a catcher to get to where they need to be. And it changes the way you have to defend against that. I've seen a lot of discussion about how to defend against a one-turn in Discord lately. I think I might do something on that in the future. But, yeah, there's
I think
more
with
than one way.
everyone wanting to put their best foot forward in the World Cup qualifiers, it's a good skill to learn.
Yeah. There
are a lot of Wood Elves.
I'm not going to get into the strategy of it or anything, but, I basically am running a one-turn Gaven team. So, yeah, that's definitely a World Cup thing. And then he's got a rookie passer. It seems like Wood Elf passers die a lot more than any other passer on the Elves. And it's not just because of the AV7. I think they just have to play a little bit more loose with them because they've got these War Dancers that are pieces worth protecting, whereas other Elves have Blitzers that are, they're AV8. They can take a punch. And that changes things a little bit for the way that prioritize your stuff, whereas high elves are like, don't touch my thrower. You can punch any piece you want. Don't punch my strong arm thrower. Okay, so that's Zork's team. Any thoughts on the Wood Elves here?
I agree that sidestep on that movement up catcher seems like a great way to increase his capabilities of one turning if that's the way he wants to use that player.
Mm-hmm. The other one would be
and Leap. That strip ball War Dancer's getting a 2nd level, which is nice. It's going to be interesting to see what he takes on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would probably go sidestep on that War Dancer even as well, and then on the other one try and go tackle Frenzy. But Frenzy is one of those debatable War Dancer picks, but there's only so many good things that go on them. I guess
they're already so good to start off.
Yeah. Get your pick. What about you, Rumblebee? What do you think about War Dancers and where they should go? You could say to hell. I mean, that's fine.
I do hate War Dancers, but that's only because half the tackle on my team was killed in game 1. I mean, for the strip ball War Dancer, I would probably go with tackle before I went with anything else, just because he's going to be leaping into cages, and I don't think sidestep really saves him all that much.
You never have too much tackle, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I would put tackle on him, although he does have a pretty nice catcher that's got
wrestle, dauntless,
sidestep, and tackle. Yeah.
That's honestly a better ball hawk.
Yeah.
I mean, the strength too isn't great, but the dauntless makes up for that more than some.
And the wrestle being so important.
Right.
And at least it's not a dauntless pick on a strength busted player.
Instead of the sidestep there, like I don't like the wrestle sidestep combination. I would have gone either. Actually, I'd tell you what I would go pro, because you eat so many rerolls when you're doing your leap blitz play. That because he has dauntless and leap, and he's going to be throwing red dice occasionally too. I think pro would have been a much better choice there. So if he fails the leap, he uses the team reroll on it. He goes in, he fails the dauntless. Well, he could pro the dauntless, or say he makes the dauntless, but then he fails the red die block or the 1 die block. He can pro that too. I really like the idea of a wrestle tackle leaper getting pro. That step doesn't save you all that much.
I mean, pro is good, but I took pro over a defensive skill and regretted it almost every game.
You're doing it in a case where the string of dice is literally just block, and then if the blocks are pushes, pro that, and if that still doesn't work, then you have to run away and re-roll on your dodge to get out. The reason why I like Pro on this type of player is there's a whole string of dice before you ever get to throw your block dice. There's the leap, there's the dauntless, there's possibly a dodge in there. You get into the position for the leap. So he's throwing all these dice before he ever even gets to the ball carrier. And your odds are that you're going to, if you're willing to kind of throw that play together, you're going to invest a team reroll to make that play happen, especially on a 3+ leap. So you make your 3+ leap, and now you've still got another 2 dice rolls left before you even find out if you got the ball knocked over. And you know, if you've already invested the team reroll, then that's a good time to use Pro. What's not a good time to use Pro is when you haven't used your team reroll, you've just thrown a block dice, and you didn't get the knockdown. A Pro at that point is like greedy, and if it doesn't work, it can get really bad. So that's the difference.
Yeah, no, I get the difference, but I don't know.
I do like the Pro on block dice when it's for ball stripping rather than just fishing for a Kaz.
Right.
Especially since the ball comes loose and the game changes for what else. It's like the best feeling ever when you see that ball drop out of their hands.
The motion of a bobbling orc. No one.
I mean, everybody likes watching that.
Yeah.
Nobody likes orcs.
No, nobody likes horror. All right, we'll move on to the second team. Speaking of teams that nobody likes, we're going to look at the Dwarves, the Booze Crews, coached by Motley. This is a dwarf team that has seen it all, and they've relived the trauma of going to the playoffs and playing a Skaven team that rolls multiple blitzes and getting eliminated very early, despite being certain casters' #1 pick for winning the whole thing that season. Ugh. Ruined my bracket. He's got some fresh Troll Slayers. Yeah, I didn't win the Wii that season. Or the Switch. That's what it was, the Switch. I didn't win the Switch. Thanks, Molly. So his dwarves are, rebuilt after that fiasco. And since then, even, we're seeing some really, really fresh Troll Slayers. He used to have some good ones. Thankfully, though, Troll Slayers level pretty fast. You got Frenzy and Block right off the bat. And they tend to get Blitz priority as well, so I wouldn't expect it to be too long before each of those has at least Mighty Blow or Tackle. Look at all the stand firm, though.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the reason why his team gets 84 blocks in a game.
Motley is he's great with his positioning. If you've ever watched any of his games, like his dwarves are always exactly where he needs them to be. And having all that strength 4 and all that stand firm.
Stand firm is probably the most annoying skill to play against in the game.
Yeah, especially when you have 4 of it.
Yeah.
And the stand firm will with the he's got 5. One of his blitzers has stand firm to it. 6. Both blitzers have it. All right. And having all that stand firm, it'll help his slayers out a lot because you can just position the stand firm around what you want to blitz, and you never accidentally risk
a frenzy trap.
Yeah, pushing your slayer somewhere where you don't want him to be. So that was one of my favorite tricks that I picked up from Horny Cricket. Just corner out a piece that you were about to murder with one of your wolves, and just make sure one of those pieces was your golem, right. And you get what you need, and your wolf doesn't end up murdering himself.
Good lesson learned. Keep at it.
It took me 2 seasons to learn it.
So for 1900 TV dwarves, the thing that jumps out at me the most, but there's a reason for it, is that there is only 6 guard. That's not a lot for where this is at in development. But the reason why it still works and why he's an effective team is he has 3 strength ups on his Longbeards. So guard you don't need as much of when you've got those strength ups, but I'm sure he'll get a couple more guard on those other strength 4 ones. And that will kind of turn him into more of an orc kind of team. The only problem is his TV is going to be so up there that when it begins. But it's going to take a team like Orcs or Chaos to really put him in his place. And Cheese is not the Orc to do that. So I am pretty much saying that Motley is a lock to go to the playoffs and arguably take the top seed here. If anything, he Rumblebeed last season when he got relegated to Div 2. Now it's just cleaning house with all these Div 2 teams. Yeah, this is quite the team. And we didn't really mention the runner, so only one runner on the team, Mick Lager Jr. With the Agi up block movement up. Doesn't really need anything else. If he gets another level, maybe kickoff return, maybe strip ball. Yeah, it's good. He's good. He's got a kick Longbeard. I don't think I've ever seen that. Huh. Kick Dauntless Longbeard. That guy's been around a long time.
I was gonna say he's working his way to legend.
Yeah.
At that point, what do you really take on that long?
I mean, after you got Guard, Stand Firm, and Mighty Blow.
Take him to get there.
Yeah. Guard, Stand Firm, Mighty Blow. You don't need piling on a Longbeard. Yeah.
I wouldn't have hated grab.
Yeah, he's got one grab on a Blitzer, which I don't hate. No, I think he might benefit from a second runner. But he's already up there in TV. He's got.
I was gonna say he's already so
he's
bloody.
Got a bench of 1. Got so many stat ups. Yeah, he's probably fine where he is.
And in a pinch, the Blodge Blitzer can carry. I mean, it's not the worst player to do it on.
Right.
But the movement difference is huge on dwarves.
Huh.
You have to get so much further into the half to score.
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially if you're doing a 2-turn or 3-turn. That was honestly what propelled Chaos Sabulu to the top, was his consistency in getting 2 turns as dwarves. Just won him games that other dwarf teams would not have won. They would have been draws. So that's one way to get to the top. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up Division 2, and let's move on to Division 1 after this wonderful brief intro video. And again, Rod finds himself dead on the pitch.
Every week, man.
Every week.
Things finally start to heal, and it's like ripping open the wound.
That's what I'm here for. So this week, week 7, I should say, I played Skinky Island Boys Wave, and this was a match I was looking forward to being a tough one. But I was able to get the armor breaks at the right time with a couple fouls that I really clutch fouls. I still got 2 expulsions, but the first half was mine. Actually, I believe he started with the kick. Been too long. I can't remember. This is the problem when I play Wednesday and then I record the following Thursday. I can tell you all about last night's match, but that long ago.
I've stopped playing so fast.
Well, yeah, I actually treat Div 1 like it's Div 1. Unlike so many other coaches in Div 1.
Well, just for that, I'm going to wait till Wednesday night to play my game.
You do it every time. Well, you did Tuesday this last week. Whatever. Anyway, it was a lot of back and forth bash. I did eventually get the skink numbers, and then where he really was resigned was... No, he started first. That's what it was. He started first with the ball. I was able to stop the score. you guys were talking about how great stand firm is on strength 4 pieces. Well, get a lot of stand firm too, and a lot of tackle, and so his Saurus weren't able to really get much ground edgewise. And between the fact that I also have 7 or 8 guard, it really makes it hard for the Saurus to get the blocks that they want and need. I also got the Croxagore out really early on an injury. Or no, it was Foul that permed him. That was after just gang fouling for the last like 5 turns. Yeah, that's right. That was the Crocs at the very end. Too many games. Anyway, moving on to the New Year Norse. They lost 1-2 against Tavels in the Big City. 130 has woken up and found his Kaz dice that he left in last season. 20 armor breaks for him on 56 blocks. 8 casualties inflicted.
Oh,
That might be the high score for the week. Ornan's Norse are getting a little banged up after he bought the Yeti.
And poor Yeti.
Not doing what it should be doing, unfortunately. Live Tree or Die Hard lost 1-2 against the Three Mountains, and this was a big shakeup. Live Tree or Die Hard has been kind of sputtering quite a bit, and the Three Mountains are climbing their way out of the bottom. 10 KOs, 1 injury, but if the KOs don't come back, those are pretty bad. Not enough of Duberman's players came back to make it a tougher match. And there is a Dwarf Pass there as well. Fun for that. I didn't get word that Chaos Abulu pulled off the 1 turn, but I know he's been trying it with Dwarves. Getting closer and closer. He almost had it against me. Gloom and Zoom got the 2-1 win against Pastry Pest. Lumi continues to struggle against the dice. And Fiction loves the dice. 44 blocks, 7 KOs, 4 injuries.
Wow.
The 12 blocks, Lumi. Not quite able to find any of the removals that he needs. That was a tough one. That was a tough one to watch. And the Pastry Pest just can't keep a bench. I think he lost another line rat that match, which, who cares about a line rat? But Lumi does, because A, he has to think of another name to fit his naming scheme, and B, because he really does benefit when he has a bench. He plays a lot better. We're getting down to the Lumi crunch time. I pity the foo that has to play Lumi in the next 5 weeks, because he's going to come at you hard. He always bides his time in the first half of the season. And as it gets closer to the playoff picture, that's when the real guns come out. So if you haven't played Lumi yet, luck. Howl at the Moon, Rumblebee, you played Golgothan just a couple days ago. How'd that go?
Well, I wasn't aggressive enough on my drive, and I had to make a miraculous dodge play to even score. It was pretty nice. He set up with one of those elf screens, and I ended up frenzy blitzing the front of it with my ball carrier, and then it was a 4+, 3+, and then a 3+ GFI to score because of the blizzard that was plaguing us the entire game. So, but I did it, and I was really happy. And then Golg set up for the 1 turn, which he doesn't have the natural 1-turner anymore. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I got this. All I got to do is keep him from pushing once, which I can do because I have 2 stand firm pieces with guard, and I have a guard sidestep piece. So I put all 3 of them on the line, and everything went to plan until he red dyed me, and I stupidly picked push instead of pow. And he pushed my sidestep into a spot where he was completely surrounded, which gave him the option of where it was going to be pushed. So he was able to get the 1 turn out. And then the 1-turner made 3 dodges.
Riddle me this, Bumblebee. Did you put all 3 of those pieces next to each other? Did you go stand firm, sidestep, stand firm? All 3 lined up?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is your problem. You don't watch the Sage videos. So the Sage did something a long time ago where he talked about this, and what you do is you do stand firm, gap, sidestep, gap, stand firm. And the reason for that is it is next to impossible for them to fill those two spots between the stand firm pieces and the sidestepper. And then when they blitz you, you just sidestep to the side, and now you're safe. Today you learned.
I thought I would have been okay making him throw red dice.
Nope.
I was
Especially when
wrong.
you don't pick push, or when you pick push instead of knockdown.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that was stupid. I was an idiot, B.
So then later
Bumblebee.
on
Bumblebee.
in his half of the game, you had some decisions to make.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm getting sick just thinking about it. He gave me an open shot on his one turner, but he also left me an open shot on the ball.
You say open shot. You mean open 2-die surf or a 1-die against the blodge stepper with no tackle.
Well, but it was the ball, man. It was the ball. I got blinded. I should have. Should have surfed this one turner.
Here's where
I
it makes a
should've.
difference to me. I'm okay with my opponent scoring when I have 3 turns left to equalize. So in my mind, that's where I would be thinking with the surf. The surf is going to potentially punish him for not scoring earlier, and then have one less player on the pitch to allow him to screen off and stall more. And so because he went for the ball there, and the way that it was positioned, he was able to swing out, just not a 2+ dodge, and screen off, and then protect the ball from getting another shot at it.
I know. I was there.
I'm just saying that. So to me, I would have much rather given it, like, punished him and then said, okay, you have to score now, because if you stall again, it's only going to get worse. And because you went for the ball there, he was able to flip that and kind of control a little bit. But regardless, it was a close one, a very close one.
I know. And half my team was KO'd. He definitely won the bash war against me.
Yeah.
So even if I had surfed the one turner and he had made him score, he just would have stolen the ball from me again, and
Maybe.
he would have been more aggressive.
Never know.
I don't know.
Never know.
But if I could go back in time, I would definitely have surfed that stupid one turner.
We would have loved you more for it. But that's okay.
I know. At least that.
You've done, no matter what, you've done your job. You took out Wave because he was honestly a playoff seat ahead of me until you did that. So
Well,
I'll be appreciative of you, even when no one else is.
It's all right. I'm just gonna. In this last game, I've decided that I'm not re-rolling. So I'm gonna rebuild.
You're gonna Rumblebee again next season.
I'm gonna try to rumble my way into the playoffs.
Well, you've got some interesting games left. I mean, Duberman is gonna be a fun one for you, facing more Agi teams around. And
But that's all right. I got more tackle now.
That's good. And you got another chance to redeem yourself against Skaven, against NPA. And
I gotta play Lumi.
by the way, you are trailblazing again for me when you play NPA. So if you could, take care of any of his pieces, his gutters specifically.
Okay. Just rough them up so the orcs have an easier time.
Exactly. I would love some loner gutter runners. And then you've got, who else do you have?
I have to play Lumi. I might have to play 130.
130 is probably gonna take some frustrations out on you.
No, we've already talked. He's gonna throw that game for me.
You got Fiction, nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna get roughed up. So my claim that I'm not gonna reroll might change.
I was gonna say, you keep saying this, but you were really dejected after you lost one Legend Wolf. Can you both get Legend and lose that Wolf in the rest of the season? We'll find out.
He's close.
And last 2 games of the week, we had Eat Eat Man Things lose 0-2 against Animal Farm. This was the big upset and the big surprise. Sace decided, hey, I've had enough Agi teams making me look bad. I'm going to hurt somebody. So he decided that NPA was the team to get hurt. 33 blocks, was able to get 4 KOs, 4 casualties, and a kill. And he was fouling as well. So when Sace fouls, you know he means business, even without a dirty player. But that disgusting, horrible, hideous, legendary, he just became legendary, Gutter Runner with Movement 10, Agi 5, Leap, and Sprint, now also has Sure Feet. So again, Rumblebee, when you're faced with the decision of surfing a one-turner rat, this is the one to surf.
Yeah, but the thing is, NPA isn't going to play me drunk. I don't think he's going to leave that option open for me.
You never know. You never know. Finally.
He's also got that...
Okay. What else does he
No,
have?
I'm just...
More Agi
He's got
5?
another... Well, he's got 3 Agi 5s.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Like, it's only a matter of time before always sneaking gets an Agi up, and then I'm just...
Pick your poison. Finally, we had Steve play Necronomics in the Necro matchup, and Horny Cricket took the win here. Horny Cricket is really my competition for the bye week. He's got me by 1 point so far, but I keep putting the pressure on him. I win. I play early in the week so I can win, and so he has to just look at my team going into his match and think to himself that if he doesn't win, he loses the spot. That's kind of the pressure that we're at, and I guess with that we'll move over to the leaderboard. So currently, right now, it looks like I'm number 1, but that's only because he hasn't played yet. If he gets his win, he'll get his 1 point advantage. Horny Cricket and I do play, I think, 3 weeks from now, so that will be a fun match. I get him right after Gloom and Zoom, so I'm hoping Fiction doesn't fiction me before that, but entirely possible. Fiction of which is in 3rd place and also still capable of taking a bye week again, where he can Fiction again. And Skink Island boys, even though they did lose that one to me and that one to you and that one to somebody else, they're still right there. They still are right there. Tied with him is Kasabulu, Golgothan, Ninja Pirate Assassin, and Duberman. Yayo losing to me, he was right there. But losing to me this week has put him just a little bit behind now. And Lumi at the 4 loss mark. So that's where we said basically if you get to 5 losses, you're pretty much out. So Lumi and Ornan, 2 former champions, really 1 loss away from getting eliminated. But the difference between this division and the other divisions is that we get 5 spots. So if you get 5 losses, you can still make the top 5, depending on how many draws there are. I will say, though, the fact that there are literally 2 drawn games 7 weeks in to Division 1, it's pretty impressive. That's very few draws. These matches are getting decided quite handily. And that should help the rest of us that are trying to pass Horny Cricket and Fiction. Or Lumi and Ornan when it comes to the later matches. Something to keep in mind. This week we're going to take a look at 2... Well, I guess they're not really similar teams, but we'll take a look at the disgusting rats that we were just talking about. So, Ninja Pirate Assassin's team, Eat Man Things, has been around the ropes for a while. How well do you play Skaven, Tself?
I mean, I usually play elves, but I do know how to play Skaven. I've played against Skaven quite a lot.
How do you feel about 3 Agi 5 Gutter Runners?
I feel disgusted. That's amazing.
It's practically cheating.
Agility 5.
NPA
They have
knows it.
2 heads. They have 2 heads, 2 of them.
NPA
They
has...
dodge through everything.
Yeah. NPA has the right mentality, and he will say repeatedly that he has a Division 1 team with a Division 3 coach. And he doesn't always capitalize on every play, the way that, Lumi would with the same exact team. But the thing of it is, it doesn't really matter. If he sees the ball on the ground, he can get it one way or another. And if you give him free shots, he'll also be able to get those too. And it's just in great shape. He's even got money in the bank, so he can kind of keep a fresh bench of secret miscellaneous race here things in order to protect those gutter runners. His weakest point was the storm vermin, but I think actually both the storm vermin now are at a point where they're legitimate threats. You've got the mighty blow tackle juggernaut storm vermin, which I really like that juggernaut since he didn't get claw yet, and I think he's thinking of cycling either of these, if one of these anyway. If on their next level they don't get claw. I know he's very aggressively piling on because he doesn't have claw on pile of deadline rats. So far it's paying off. He hasn't gotten hurt or anything, and he's getting closer and closer to that next level. So really, and I think at this point MPA is a strong candidate for making the playoffs. If he makes the playoffs, I would expect both these storm vermin to have another level, and another, well, both the gutter runners that aren't yet level 6 probably will be level 6 by the playoffs.
And that level 4 gutter runner,
Mm-hmm.
who's only 10 away, I mean, if that thing gets tackle, he walks into a cage on a 3-up.
Yeah. Well,
He drops the ball on a 2 dice against.
He's going to probably also get strip on that one, from what I've heard him say on stream, which I don't hate either for going into the
either
playoffs.
of them,
yeah.
Either of those skills, you walk into a cage on a 3-up, you take a 2 dice against because you don't care. You just have to avoid the skull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
especially with
scary.
strip. Yeah. Yep, that is a really, really, really strong team, and anyone that thinks that they could build it better is crazy. Even if his in-game play he thinks isn't that great, just the development that he's got on the team, I don't question any of his level up choices.
He even has the perfect line rats.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely no development. Butt kick.
Butt kick.
I mean, you could maybe want a dirty player. And I think he's
one dirty player. That 5 out of 6
Yep.
gets a Kaz and gets dirty player. It's perfect.
No thrower. This team is
Even throwers are so bad.
Why
this team is the
thrower?
exact opposite of Khaleesi Maya's team, where all the stat ups and skills are on all of the non-gutter runners.
Well, Khaleesi just throws wave after wave of his line rats until something sticks.
It works.
NPA just kind of does everything with his gutter runners.
Yeah.
Rather than cycle his vermin, I'd like to see the one with Juggernaut take frenzy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Frenzy jugs.
It's not something you really see on rats very often, so people wouldn't be expecting it.
Well, he's got movement 7 too, so literally if he's in the middle of the pitch, he can surf.
Yeah,
it's a good combo. I like it. Let's go ahead and move on to the former Div 1 winner, Gloom and Zoom, coached by Fiction. Fiction's team is finally looking a little worse for wear. And even at that, it is still really, really good. So the biggest change to the team is quicker and forebodiner. It's still quick, it's still foreboding, but not as agile. He's become a bull centaur. He's got the strength 4 blodge sure hands sidestep tackle, but this bull centaur like werewolf has only got agi 2. This was a recent development, but he's a legend, so whatever, you keep him anyway.
I mean, he's still strength 4.
Yeah. And you see, I mean, if you play against a bunch of Chaos Dwarves, which anyone that plays in Champs Ladder plays against a bunch of Chaos Dwarves, you know that Sure Hands on a Bull Centaur is a pretty reliable pickup 75% of the time. But you got to capitalize on those few times where he doesn't pick it up. That's where there's a potential weakness now in this team. Speedo McPessimism is still doing stuff with Mighty Blow. And only 5 SPP away from Legends. So, you're about to have 2
Double
Legends on this team. And because this white gets so much work, Catalina or Catatonia Momentum. Catatonia Momentum. The white with Mighty Blue piling on Tackle, Dauntless, and Juggernaut. All the killer skills except for Pro, because as Rumblebee likes to point out, Pro is not a good killer skill. This guy just erases wrestle dodge players. Just completely obliterates them. He does it regularly. I believe that one player is responsible for most of Lumi's hatred of this team. Just gets rid of rats like no tomorrow. And he's close to also making Legend. Only 40 SPP away. That's, 5 games. Well, I guess maybe 10. He might do it next season, but he could do it this season. Especially if he keeps getting to play rats.
Maybe see it in the playoffs.
Probably. Possibly. Playoffs aren't fiction's strong suit, but regular season fiction is just nigh
He
unstoppable.
face rolls people.
Yeah. When I say fictions, that's what I mean. Both in playoffs and out of playoffs. They do what they do.
I mean, I don't know. He's got a couple levels on his flesh golems.
I would say you say a couple levels. This is the team that created the golem tax system. So if you're a necro coach and you're like, why do people talk about the golem tax all the time? You're just jinxing it. Well, this is the guy that has all the strength for werewolves because he pays his golem taxes. While he does have a couple levels here, 3 levels on 2 golems, we can expect that one of those golems will be dying soon to keep those wolves alive.
Yeah, maybe one of those whites too. Because if your golems don't die fast enough, the taxman comes for your whites.
Especially if they're
Trust
strength
me.
4 whites, yeah.
Yeah. That was so sad. I was in such a good position.
Strength 4 stand firm, so basically a golem.
Yeah, that's what he was.
He was asking the taxman to charge him.
Yeah, but then the other one died too.
Yeah.
They all die.
Yeah.
My entire team dies. I'm in tatters.
But
Maybe I will reroll.
You just said you're not re-rolling. Stop it. You're making people think that you're crazy. Flip-flopping all back and forth.
Just call me Mitt Romney.
I would say, what are you running for office? Flip-flopping? All right. No more politics. That's it for this team, and I think we're about to wrap up the whole episode here. So, predictions for next week for Div 1. Bloom and Zoom versus Skinky Island Boys will be a fun game to watch. Catch that on Fiction's channel. He's regularly streaming his games on Twitch. Rumblebee versus Duberman. Go get him, Beanie. I don't know. Do your best. You can do it.
I got this.
Enough will take the wheel. Ornan versus Eat Man Things. Ornan's, he's got some wins against some strange matches. An NPA lost last week against Sace. I think this could be one where Ornan comes back in it, but if NPA really wants a good seat in the playoffs, he needs to win this one. Necronomics against Tapples in the big city. If 130 keeps going with this string of Kaz dice that he got, which is what he did last season, he put a hurting on Horny Cricket last season. I wouldn't be surprised though if Horny Cricket comes back and avenges for the way that Necro usually plays lizards. 3 Mountains against Animal Farm. This is the one that Chaos Bulu has got to have been fearing the most. Sace with nothing to live for but the joy of seeing Chaos Bulu cry on stream. So I would love to watch that one with a bag of popcorn and a couple of drinks.
I don't normally watch people play, but I will probably watch that game.
I mean, the thing is, though, is Sace is usually only good for destroying one team a season, and he destroyed my team. So I don't know if he's got it in him. I hope he does. But
okay, well, he didn't only destroy your team. All right.
Well, okay, he destroyed your one wolf. Just because your whole team was one wolf.
I know. That one wolf was my team.
Just because your team was one wolf doesn't mean that him destroying one wolf destroyed your team. Just saying.
I disagree with you. I've only won one game ever without that wolf.
I had a death and 3 perms. A little different. Just saying. Anyway, I really
First block.
I'm
First block.
I'm forecasting pillow hands on Zace. I'm forecasting it. And then finally, the rat off between Pastry Pest and Rats Off to you. Golgothan is certainly capable of taking this one. Pastry Pest has just been stumbling out of the gate, but like I said before, he's due, and it's his time in the season where he really cranks it up. So I also play Rats Off to you next week, so I kind of hope that Lumi gets the crap out of him. That's going to do it. Thank you again for joining me, Tself. Best of luck to you for the rest of the season. Are you going for the playoff spot still?
We'll see. This week will probably hurt a lot.
Who are you playing this week again?
The Chaos Doors by Puckstop.
Ooh.
Yeah. Puck is looking forward to that.
Well, you got a lot of loners, so if you get
I
up,
do have a lot of loners.
if
and
you get up 2-0 and you're able to just play hide the elf in the shelf,
getting those inducements, and they've not been doing anything for me. I don't know if anyone has actually seen this, but it was in the chat log of my game against Soul.
Yeah,
I have lightning bolted 5 times this season, and I have rolled 4 ones.
oof, that's less than ideal.
So 150 TV.
It sounds like your lightning dice are about as good as my GFI dice. For those of you keeping score at home, I don't roll a lot of GFIs. People always say, "Oh, stop rolling so many GFIs." Last game I rolled 7 GFIs. I failed 4. The week before that, I rolled 9 GFIs. I failed 5. I can't make a GFI to save my life.
Sounds like you need some sure feet. I'll fix that.
No, they just.
But yeah, I feel like nowadays the I'm just spending that 150 to appease Nuffle, keep my
Right.
players alive.
It's a sacrifice. That's what's keeping the AV6 alive, and the niggle.
Oh man,
I love it. Awesome. Well, good luck the rest of the season. Rumblebee, I know your path to playoffs is, hard at work, and
Hey, I'm still in it.
you're technically not eliminated yet. Technically, 'cause there are 5 seeds. So
Technically is
I will.
correct.
I tell you what, I will do my part to just beat up every person I play, in order to help you get there.
I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Rumblebee for playoffs 2018. Put it on a sign.
Don't call it a comeback.
It would definitely be a comeback, but yeah. All right, that's gonna do it. Thanks everybody for watching. See you guys next week. It will be a delayed episode, so those of you that don't know, I'm gonna be going to Maui. So it will not be until probably Saturday. But that's all. Thanks everybody. Have a good one.